Good evening, everybody. All right, so I'm going to make a little video here to help you out with your homework. The activity we started today, compromised. Now, one thing we need to understand before we can finish this activity is the concept of the House of Representatives. All right, now in the House of Representatives, each state gets representatives to vote on making laws depending on the number of people they have in their state. Okay, so a state like this over here, Georgia, which doesn't have that many people, they might get one representative. Okay, but a state that has a lot of people like Pennsylvania, well, they might get 9 representatives. Now, that might not sound like a huge difference, but when it comes to making laws that affect these states, having 9 representatives is a lot of power compared to having one. So the big debate was around slaves, right? Should slaves be counted as people for determining the number of representatives that your state gets? Sorry, let me get to the right tab there. So, of course, now that we understand how the House of Representatives is set up, of course, slave states, states with a lot of slaves, wanted to count those slaves towards their population. Why? So they could get more representatives and have more power in the House. Now, the non-slave states didn't want that because they thought that it was an unfair advantage. So they thought, hey, the slaves don't vote. You're not treating them like people. Why should they be counted as people to get you more votes for your House of Representatives? Okay, so that was a big debate between slave states and free states. And what the two parties agreed upon was the 3/5 compromise. Okay, and that takes us to question, well, first of all, let's say what the 3/5 compromise is. 3/5 compromise says that each slave will be counted as 3/5 of a person for the purpose of tallying representatives. Okay, so what that did was, first of all, it made the slave states happy that they got to count their slaves. They got more representatives because they had slaves, and it kept the union from falling apart. Okay, so first of all, I just want you to answer this question number 4 right here. What do you think that the consequences of that compromise were? Who benefits from that? Okay, who is getting more power from the 3/5 compromise? All right, I'll let you go ahead and think about that. It doesn't have to be a terribly complex answer. Just tell me what you think. Do you think it's fair? You can add that. You don't have to answer just this question. I want to know what you think. Okay, now the next part, question number 5, is a math question. So what I want you to do here is I want you to calculate if each slave is counted as 3/5 of a person. I want you to find out how many of these slaves are counted towards the total population. And what you're going to do that is we're going to take 3/5 of this number here, the slave population. So I'm just going to do Connecticut for you right now so you can see what it looks like. We're going to type in on our calculator, this is a calculator problem, the slave population, multiply that times 0.6, because 0.6 is 6/10, which is equal to 3/5. This number right here, 1658, this is the number that's counted toward the population. Okay, so we're going to take this, we're going to add all the free people. Well, first of all, let's get this back. We're going to write this number down. This is the number that goes into counted. It's 3/5 or 0.6 times the slave population. Okay, that goes in counted. Then we're going to add the free population plus the slaves that are counted toward population, and that will be our total counted population. So this column plus this column gives us this column. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. 1658 plus 235,182 gives me the total counted population, which is 236,840. Now, for every 33,000 people, each state gets one representative. So we're going to take this number and we're going to divide by 33,000. And this number here is going to be our number of representatives. Now, of course, we're going to round this down. Okay, so they have 7 and then some decimal here, but we're going to round this down and say they get 7 representatives. that goes in this column here. Okay, one more time. Since you have a bunch of states, I'll do Delaware too. We're going to see, so let's go ahead and clear this out. 7 goes into representatives. We're on the next problem. We want to find out, first of all, how many of these slaves here, the total slave population, is counted. So we're going to say 8,887 times 0.6. We're going to count 5,332. I should say they would count. Okay, yeah, they would count 5,332. Add that to the free population, which is 50,209. That gives us the total counted population of 55,541. We're going to divide that by 33,000, and that gives us the number of representatives this state gets. Okay, and this all gets rounded down. So Delaware, under the 3/5 compromise, would only have 1 representative. Okay, and then you're just going to do that for all of these, each one of these columns, and that's it. All right, good luck.